Does a poem tell the age of the poet, or a poem is the result of the cognitive age of the poet? Is a poem a reflection of the happening of the poet, or is a poem a reflection of the ability of the poet to experience others? And why does a poem have more power than prose? Welcome to the Bookbibuli podcast. We have a poet in our midst today. Her name is Srishti Ganguli. We have a stargazer. Can't blame her, she's 17 and she wants to go on to become a professional at stargazing. Her vehicle of words is surely flying in the midst of stars. Our first question to you, Srishti, how is being 17 like?
I think it's as ordinary and exciting as any other 17-year-old's life is. I think 17 is more about self discovery, juggling responsibilities, making choices that shape your career. I am studying for my class 12th boards right now, and as a science student, my schedule is pretty packed. But I have a small group of friends who I love hanging out with, and I believe that my dog is the main reason of my increased serotonin levels. She's truly the finest companion and playmate I could have ever wished for. And other than poetry, I play basketball and I'm really engaged in literary events like debates and creative writing competitions and all. Yes, I think that's about it.
My dear rapist, an uncomfortable sobriquet. The tongue refuses, the mind revolts, and the body squirms. How could you, how did you manage to pen that title?
When I began writing my book, I knew I wanted to include a section that discusses social problems and things society considers forbidden. For writing this poem, My Dear Rapist, I got inspired by an episode of Satyameva Jayate, where a guest speaker spoke about the things a rape victim has to go through. Then I read multiple articles about how society treats them, and that really impacted me. I feel as a young poet, it is my responsibility to contribute for the betterment of the society, and the only way I know how to do that is by using my pen. And I feel the title is apt because the poem, the victim directly communicates with the person who assaulted her, expressing how society has abandoned her, which aligns precisely with the message I aim to convey. To be very honest, initially I was not sure about how people would perceive this poem because it is from a perspective of a 22-year-old rape victim who directly targets the society. But I'm so glad that I wrote it, and now it has become the most appreciated part of my book. So I'm really glad about that.
Well, let me recite a little something. Tears have a gender. Masked are all men, cast in the tradition. Even the tears have a gender. Can't a real man break the convention? But they cast the same mask on the boy who is just born. The lore goes on to the next generation. No man enough to speak for the mankind. Hold your tears. A man never cries is an institution. What do you think, Shrishti? Should men learn to cry? How do you think will it help in the progress of the society?
I believe tears represent the most fundamental form of human expression, transcending gender. In response to the question, should men learn to cry? I think that men shouldn't feel constrained by societal norms when it comes to their emotions. My poem, The Masculine Mask, delves into how society conditions men to suppress their tears and emotions, conforming to a toxic image of masculinity. This hinders genuine self expression. I think not only men but everyone in general should break free from such norms and embrace their true selves. And I strongly believe that society often overlooks men's mental health, And as a society, when we are trying to promote gender equality, I think it's very, very important to uplift each and every individual, regardless of their gender. And I think that is something very vital for the progress of the society.
That's a very interesting take, Srishti. We will be very delighted if you can recite your favorite poem from your entire book.
I think we have spoken a lot about my poem, My Dear Rapist, so I would like to recite that for you all. So here goes my poem. My dear rapist, I miss you. Yesterday I turned 22. Tears still put off my birthday candle. I am the princess with the broken glass sandal. I am the victim yet accused. At 17, my body was misused, but they questioned my skirt, not the one who abused. That day, I was counting the stars when you came in and gave me a lifelong scar. My soul wanted to die. There were no tears left to cry. They said, You took away my dignity. How? You were the one whose humanity came to an end. They only have fingers to point but no hands to lend. Neither the people in khaki nor the boy wearing my rakhi stood by my side. I'm no longer my family's pride. I was disowned by my father. My mother doesn't even call me her daughter. You are still unpunished under the law. And they tell me it was my flaw. You are a filthy boy who touched my skin. You treated me like a toy, but they treat me like a sin.
Okay, I would like to stop here for a moment and give myself and our fellow listeners a little while to absorb this. That is a very hard hitting poem. We all know the might of your pen and wish you more strength in the future. Can we assume that your reading is as mighty?
First of all, thank you for your kind wishes. And coming to your question, I feel reading has been a significant part of my life, largely influenced by my father, who always immersed himself in books. And both my parents actively nurtured and cultivated my reading habit. I began reading around second or third grade, starting with Thumbelina and Panchtantra. And during my middle school, I delved into Nancy Drew and Goosebumps, of course. I presently lean towards biographies, astronomy, nonfiction, and more of poetry. And I strongly believe that my love for poetry has stemmed from reading a lot of books of Rupi Kaur, Nikita Gill, Amanda Lovelace, and I must mention Irmina Froese. Her book, Comma, is a phenomenal piece of literature. And all these poets play a huge role in shaping me as a poet today.
So tell us, Stargazer, what do stars say about the future of reading, especially for children of today?
In today's age, cultivating a reading habit in children is vital. It fosters imagination, enhances vocabulary, and nurtures critical thinking. Encouraging them to choose books over screens can pave the way for a lifetime of learning. They need a complete system to do that, and I think that is where your platform, Bookbibuli, comes into play.
Thank you very much, Srishti. Um, I would like to know before you sign off, who do you think would be an ideal audience for your book?
I believe my book can be enjoyed by anyone above the age of 12. It is a compilation of various genres of poems, including diverse human emotions, the beauty of nature, different aspects of society, and self love. I have composed these poems using a variety of literary devices, striving to fill the pages of my book with heartwarming and impactful poetry. So, if you desire to immerse yourself in the realm of poetry, this is the choice for you.
Well, The Blunt Pencil, a book of poems from a 17-year-old. Srishti Ganguli, as you know, is a reader, a writer, a podcast host, an astronomer. This is a short book of poems, poems touching some of the disturbing malaise of the society, really hard-hitting treatise on the problems of the society which we have become numb to. Get ready to be jolted out of that slumber. You will be forced to ponder, and you might even decide to act. And now it's time for Bookbibuli Read Record. Anyone who has crossed 14 might pick up this book, though the poems definitely require a mature mind beyond one's age. Language might seem to be easy, but comprehension might not. After reading these impactful poems, one's eyes would open to the unpleasant realities of our society. Expect the reader to be thoughtful, even pensive, and maybe rather, or more than maybe, expect uneasy questions from the young mind. There is no abusive, sexual, or violent content. It's just reality. Bookbibuli's patented curated reads program is the correct way to seriously pursue reading, a personal, time-based program with structured plan of books, what to read, when to read, and why to read them. Subscribe for curated read programs from 1 month to 1 year. Better read, read better.